You are listening to the Showbiz Side Hustle podcast, powered by PerformerPreneur. I am your host here, Nicole Louise Geddes, and together we'll be delving into all of the ways that a showbiz side hustle can support you now and long into the future. So sit back, relax, and listen in, and together let's get inspired to take action to create the life, future, and business of your dreams. This episode is sponsored by the Showbiz Side Hustle Handbook, available on Kindle and in paperback over on Amazon. Follow the simple tasks laid out over 3 easy-to-action sections and effectively build a strong business foundation for a successful showbiz side hustle. Today's episode is all about consistency. To build your business, your side hustle, your mindset, your physical being, you have to be consistent. Consistency is the key. Rome, as they say, was not built in a day. So what can you do, and how much available time, how much commitment have you got to being consistent? Too many of us start this process on absolute full speed. We skyrocket, we give ourselves all of the to-dos, all of the jobs, and everything suddenly becomes overwhelming and frustrating. Be that managing your mindset, be that building your business, be that juggling your performing career, or training to be the best physical version of yourself. If you are consistent, you need to probably take your foot off the pedal and give yourself a little bit of wiggle room to make sure that you can do and be and implement all of the things that you set out to at the beginning of the week, the month, or the year. So let's have a little think about how fast you are flying into your to-do list, to your goals, to your projects, and give yourself that capacity to be consistent. Consistency, as I say, is key, but it doesn't happen overnight. You can't just skyrocket, propel yourself at full speed and hope that you can maintain that level of energy forevermore. It's impossible. So today's episode is to talk to you about slowing down, about being consistent, about taking the pedal off and the pressure off of all of the things that you want to be, do, and achieve. What can you manage day to day, week to week, month to month? What is your availability in terms of time, capacity, energy? And make sure that you are checking into this regularly so that you can keep consistent with that approach to tackling and smashing through your goals, your plans, your to-do list, and your energy, keeping your energy absolutely on track so that you can build and do and be all the things that you are setting out to do, be, and achieve. When it comes to consistency and managing our time, our available time, and our energy, I always say to start at the end and work backwards. What is the date that you want to achieve your goal, be that a physical goal, a mental goal, a business goal, a performance goal? When do you want to achieve that by? Please don't just pick a random day out of the year, out of the month, out of the quarter ahead. Be a little bit more creative with your available time and thinking. What date would you like to achieve that by? And then work backwards in terms of what's available in terms of time, energy, capacity, anything that's going to get in the way of that consistency needs to be considered so that you don't become overwhelmed, so you don't become agitated and disappointed in yourself. If you have set your sights on a very realistic date to achieve what you've set out to achieve, then you're going to be able to get to that end goal a lot smoother, a lot more consistently in terms of your output of energy and enthusiasm for the job and the task at hand. So I always work backwards. I find the date, I break it down into manageable chunks, I then break it down into manageable tiny little to-dos, and don't ever underestimate the fact that if you do one to do a day, you are going to get to that end result. If you are consistently taking those steps to be and build your business dream, then you will get there by absolutely taking one step, one to do at a time. If some days you have more capacity, you have more time, you have more energy, then you can ramp your consistency up a little level. But if you start at the minimum, if you start at the place that doesn't overwhelm you, you will absolutely get to where you want to be without that dread and that fear and that disappointment that you haven't been able to maintain the speed that you set out to when you first plow your energy and yourself into your next new goal. We've been talking about mindset over the past couple of episodes, and we've been talking about training and being your best self, your peak performance. Again, these things are going to take time. They're going to take consistency. They're going to take action. And you need to maintain that momentum by not being overzealous and overcomplicating your training schedule, your mindset tasks, or your business building goals and projects and to-dos. Please take it down a notch and be able to build up as you go once you understand your consistent and available time that you can manage and be productive with. So this is just a little top tip today to get you thinking about being a little less vigorous in your approach to building your business, for want of a better word. I want you to be a little bit more self-aware of your consistency, and just as I say, take it down a level, give yourself a minimum, and then you can build on that rather than go hell for leather in that first instance of building your business, yourself, your mindset, all of these things that we've been talking about in the Showbiz Side Hustle podcast from episode 1 right through to now. There'll be things that you've heard in these episodes that you want to get straight on and do. There'll be other things that will get put to the bottom of a list, but you know that they're going to be important to you in the future. And if you manage your time and you are consistent with your availability, your time and your schedule, you'll be able to fit all of these things in as and when you need them. I absolutely know. And I can assure you, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, Rome was not built in a day. So be kind to yourself. These things will get there. Your business will grow. Be kind to yourself. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is your success and Showbiz Side Hustle. It takes small, steady, consistent steps. So today's podcast has been a little reminder about the fact that consistency is key, but actually the speed and the motivation and the energy you put into that needs to be manageable and sustainable so that you can get to where you want to be without any big hurdles, big breaks in productivity, without any overwhelm and disappointment at yourself for maybe not doing and being and achieving all the things that you set out to, or you certainly could do at the very beginning of your task, project, or goal. Keep things consistent and you'll get there in the end. Slow and steady wins the race. So that is your lovely reminder this week to just slow down, take a breath, review and reflect, be consistent, but be strategic with your energy. Big love. Have a good week. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Thank you for joining me here on the Showbiz Side Hustle podcast. So until next time, please do take a little bit of action, that very first step, and make sure that you are doing something for you and your Showbiz Side Hustle this week to move you forward and get you heading quickly and swiftly and strategically towards success.